All right, good morning. Appreciate that, Ross. We are rolling along, man. This is hard to believe. This is week 6 or game 6, week 7 or 8, whatever we're in. But proud of our team and where they are at this point and how they came to work last night. It was a good start to the week, and you're going to need a couple big days today and tomorrow to really get our plan down. Boston College is always one of the toughest teams we play every year. I have a ton of respect for this program. Their coaches. Coach Hafley does an amazing job. It was a 19-13 game last year, 13-13 in the fourth quarter. It seems like every year, it's a real battle. This is one of the most physical games that we play every year. They take a lot of pride in their style of play and how they play from a physicality standpoint. And so, we've got to play well, and it all starts in practice and how you prepare the details. I thought we played our best game last week, and I think it was a reflection of, guys just kind of growing up and maturing with practice and what it takes in practice. So, another big challenge this week to go on the road. Boston College is a tough place to play, and national TV, red bandana game, and it'll be a lot of juice for their home game. So very important that we really do a good job getting them ready mentally this week for what we got to do to win the game. But they are. Led by a great quarterback, another one every week. Every week there's a guy that's going to be playing on Sunday, and Jerkovic's been there a while, and he's been a load for us. I mean, last year we did a pretty good job in the run game, but they big played us to death, and just hit a lot of explosives on us, especially in the first half there. We had a couple big play busts. And credit them from a scheme standpoint as far as how they go about creating explosives with their personnel groups. You'll see a little bit of it's a different style of play this week. There are some 11, some 12, some 13 personnel, and a lot of max pro shots where there's long double moves, layered routes, cross country routes. Bunch of motions and bunch sets and moving the pocket, boots and, big tight ends. But where's Waldo? You got to find number 4. I mean, he's as good a player as there is in college football. This kid is a great player. And it's not real complicated. I mean, they're gonna get him the ball 10 or 15 times because he scored against Louisville last week. They get in the red zone the first time, and they call a double pass, and they cover it way over there, and he sees it's covered, and he just pulls it down, just runs around and runs it around for a touchdown, and it's like, it's a great call, right? And that's what he does. He's one of them guys that makes bad calls into great calls, like no, go. That's who Zay Flowers is. He is a great player. He is a problem, and so good coaches are going to find a way to get him the ball, over and over and over. And it might be a negative play, but they're going to keep getting the ball to the playmaker. He's a dude. He is outstanding. He's a great route runner. So we've got our hands full with him. Number 1 is a heck of a player, and 0. And then the big tight end, Tactics. I'm not sure how to say it, but he's a big, 6'6" plus guy that they're going to involve as well. Very impressed with their running backs. The 24 is played against us last year, Garwo. He's a great player, physical, downhill, runs tough. And then this 20 is kind of more of the same. He's got another gear. As far as being able to really take it to the house if you get him in that open field. So I think they got a couple outstanding backs. I think they played their best game last week against Louisville. They played with a lot of juice, played with a lot of toughness. Jerkovic made some plays, big throws down the field. They hit Zay for 2 massive touchdowns on, corner post, throwback type routes. So just, again, you got to play with a lot of discipline against these guys and make sure that you can handle all the formations and motions and shifts and all that type of stuff and how they're going to try to create leverage for some of their playmakers. So a big challenge for our defense for sure. Offensively, same thing. They're big and strong up front, 97, 93, 96. And then that number 6, who was a freshman for him last year, he is twitchy. He is athletic. He can change direction. All those guys play incredibly hard. All the backers are back, and now they got De Palma back. He was out last year. So a very veteran group at linebacker and 3 starters back in the secondary as well. So, well coached. They believe in their scheme and what they do, and they know how to execute it. So we've got to really play with precision, and that's something I talked about this past week, and that's what I want to see from us is just be a little more precise in some of our details and our discipline, whether it be our eyes, our alignments, our taxi technique, our leverage, and whatever it is. So we got a lot of little things to clean up. But, again, good group, veteran group on the defensive side with a bunch of guys back. And then they have lost a couple guys in the offensive line, so they're not as experienced there. But, hey, we're going into Game 6, so they've had a chance to kind of play themselves into a good group. And you saw that last week with a huge win over Louisville. Good kicking game. So, again, just one of those games that we're going to have to, play well to have a chance to win on the road. And for us, we're going to be on the road these next couple of weeks. I think 3 out of the next 4 games are on the road for us. So if we're going to have the type of season that we want to have, we've got to, really bring the sense of urgency and bring our energy, and juice each and every week. To be ready. So it'll be a great atmosphere up there, and looking forward to the challenge.
Coach, you mentioned it, the red bandana game. How special is it to you that BC always seems to choose your game to honor the heroic sacrifice of Wells Crowther? Yeah,
well, first of all, that's an amazing tribute that they do to him. I've had the opportunity to meet his family. In fact, I still have I have a red bandana. I've had it. It's in my briefcase right now, today. It's been in my briefcase for years. And just one of those things that's stuck down in there. And every time I go to find my charger, I see the red bandana. So it's just something I've always held on to. I have a lot of, admiration for, who he was, but also just his family. And then just, how Boston College has just shown that light on that sacrifice, year in and year out, and they always pick a game, and they beat Southern Cal, whatever one of these years. We've been in some dog fights with them up there for sure. So it's been a while since we've been there. It's been a while. So I guess the last time we were there, I guess it was the red bandana game. So it's been a while, and that's probably how long I've had that bandana in my briefcase since that last time. But, I always look forward to going up there. To me, it's got a lot of special memories, too. That was the first game we ever won, was up there. And it's something I've always I had never been there at that point as far as, as a head coach or anything like that. And just remember going up there and how our guys played that night. And so I have some good memories and some bad ones from up there, but it's always a special place to go to.
It also seems like it's always November and 30 degrees when you play up there, so you're looking forward to a little bit warmer weather this time?
Yeah, I think it's going to be maybe 50 or 49 or something like that. We might touch the 4s. So it'll be nice. It's that time of year. Things are starting to change a little bit, but we're in the prime time phase of our season. We're right in the middle of it, and we got to have a great month of October. Yep.
I was going to ask you about that first game. C.J. Spiller had 6 big catches, set a receiving record in that game. guy by the name of Tyler Grisham had 4 or 5 tough catches down the stretch. Guy by the name of Thomas Austin's out there blocking. Now those guys are coaching for you.
Yeah.
Going to take a little time, maybe walk out on the field with them and kind of.
Yeah, Cavell Connor, Ricky Sapp. Those guys were, Aaron Kelly had that huge catch, after Spiller ran out of gas on the kick return, and it was we got up. Remember that, man, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves in there at halftime and in a dogfight, but it was special. That's one I'll never forget. I have a picture of that, that locker room, and all the guys that were a part of that. And again, it's cool for those of them on the staff to be able to reflect a little bit when you go up there, because that really, if we don't win that game, I'm probably not here. So they're all big, but some you just don't realize how big they are, right, until later on down the road. Kind of like when we beat Syracuse that year, we knew it was big, but we didn't know how big until you look back and you go, dang, we went 15-0. So they're all big, but that one was just one game, but it was I think what that team needed to be able to rally and stay the course and create the type of belief we needed to have a good finish.
Where does that win rank? I know you try not to rank them, but I imagine that's just kind of a separate deal than even the national championship.
Yeah. That was. It doesn't get any bigger than that first one. So that was a huge win for us, especially how we won. And for that team in particular, they just needed something good to happen. How we had lost to Georgia Tech in that first one, and then the open date, and just all that was going on. It was that was huge for that team, and so just kind of helped us to kind of solidify what we were trying to do down the stretch.
Coach, new offensive coordinator and John McNulty. Do you think it maybe took them a few games to kind of get into a rhythm offensively? You mentioned you thought they had the best game against Louisville.
Yeah, well, I just think they've had, a lot of personnel changes up front in particular. And, when you don't have a lot of continuity up front, there's challenges. That's what we had last year. That's been the biggest thing for us this year is we've been able to have continuity. Every week it was musical chairs up front, and it just affects everything. The plays don't – it's amazing how the plays work better when you got – continuity and consistency up front. This year, our challenges have been mostly in the D-line, but we got way more depth there, right? We've been able to deal with that, and we couldn't deal with that like we needed to, and most people can in the offensive line. There's not many teams out there that's got 10 starters in the offensive line. It's a different deal, but I think they've had a little continuity there, injuries, guys, and just kind of figuring it all out. But man, they played a really good football game last week. They battled. They were physical. Those backs, huge explosive plays. Jerkovic got involved with his legs. They had a nice, big long play by him. On a with good coverage, but a breakdown. You don't contain him. You don't set the edge. He's you don't think of him as a guy that really beats you. But I remember, was it 20 here in 20, we couldn't tackle him. He ran over us and through us that whole game. So he's a guy, and you just saw him really kind of getting rhythm. They made some huge plays. He was accurate. They dropped a couple of balls too that I think could have led to some more. But I don't know. You just saw him play with a lot more consistency up front, a lot more continuity, and I think it's just having a chance to kind of play through some things. And then I think everybody's figuring out who they are these first few weeks. So what they need to do to give themselves a chance to be successful. Man, again, they're heavy sets to be able to establish some run, their motions, their formations, how they're creating for four. He's everywhere. They get in a bunch. He's the point. He's this guy. He's that guy. He's 3-by-1 backside. He's all over the place. So they've done a nice job of I think scheming, and then again, just they've gotten more comfortable up front.
Not that
conflicts for safeties as you're
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to use your eyes
Yeah.
and put your eyes in the right places and account for
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll see if we've grown up some this week, because this will be a huge challenge, because there's a lot of conflict, because it's a ton of play action. Boot, move the pocket. Sometimes he'll come all the way out and throw it back. Sometimes it's a quick, set. But a lot of hard play action and again, layered routes, cross-country routes, bunch sets with four going all over the place. He's corner routes, he's cross routes, he's corner posts, he's posts. He's screens. He's, motion, hand it to him. They're doing a little bit of everything, but we have to be very disciplined with our eyes on the back end, because if you start peeking, you're in trouble. I'm excited to see us play, because I think this is the type of game we need, to grow up a little bit on that back end. It is what it is. They're going to run we got to try to stop the run. They're not going. Them two backs, they pride themselves in running the ball. We got to win first and second down, but we also, it's easy to watch the tape from those first few games, or 2 or 3 of our games, and go, okay, we need to exploit this. And so that's called professional courtesy, right? So see if these boys have fixed it. So we're going to get our chance to show that we've grown a little bit. And that's really what I want to see from really just this point forward. Have we matured and grown? And I don't care if a guy's out here or there. I don't care. We've had guys that have played. And so we got to we're not perfect, but are we better? And are we improving? That's what you need to see. And you saw that last week, especially in the second half. We got better and we improved. And young guys are getting enough reps, but it goes back to practice and really preparing the right way and having respect for what it takes to play well under the lights. We're going to see, but these guys will definitely challenge us from a discipline standpoint.
You talked on the radio show last night about Jeadyn Lukus, wanting to get him going too. How close do you feel like he is to getting to the point? Yeah,
it goes back to practice. I want to see it in practice. I want to see him, since he's a young kid. He's so talented. A little bit like Toriano in that, I just saw a little urgency. I saw it in the weight game on Toriano. And I know he missed some plays, but just I saw the right look. It didn't seem too big to him, and the way he practiced last week, and he was ready for the game. Now he didn't know he was going to have to go in and play like he had to play, because Mukuba went out, so that changed things a little bit. But he was going to play a good bit, and I like his demeanor. I think he's kind of made a turn in really understanding as a young player, like the type of focus and attention to details and urgency in practice that you have to have. You can't just show up and play. And I think Jay Lou's kind of right that he's a little casual. Unbelievably talented, long, can run, great ball skills, but just sense of urgency and practice. And he's off to a good start. Had a really good night last night. And but yeah, because he's a guy we're going to need, and he's making some progress. But just taking to the coaching, and just slowing the game down for him a little bit, but really playing with the level of intensity that you have to play with. He's got to earn that. But he's coming. He's coming.
Coach, speaking of the corners, Fred Davis played in special teams the other night. Have you seen him handle the kind of setback against Wake the way you'd like to, the right mentality?
Yeah, back to work. It is what it is. It's just you are what you put on tape, right? And let's do something about it. So same thing. Attention to details, technique. If you're inside leverage, then play inside leverage. Footwork. Carry your individual to your group work, to your teamwork, to the games, and really just, and he's done that. He was the reason why he was out there. It's not like we hadn't seen him do it. We've seen him. I thought he had a really good camp, and was doing some good things. But I just think, just kind of got out of himself a little bit and didn't handle the adversity very well. And the next thing you know, you're kind of outside yourself, and now your fundamentals are bad, your technique's bad, your confidence is down, and you don't play well. But he's a really, really talented football player. And so we're just getting him kind of recentered, and you got to go compete. And if you're not if you're not performing well, you give somebody else another opportunity. And again, we need that. We need that competition. So yeah, I love how he's responded back to work, and you know, he'll get some more opportunity, and just needs to play better.
KJ Henry said you challenged him in the offseason to stick around and compete against NFL guys, and now you watch him, and he's almost the voice of the defense, or the voice of the team in a lot of ways. I saw him coaching the defensive backs up at Wake Forest. You see kind of what he does. He's waving teammates back on the field, off the field. What is it about him this year that has just pushed him to another stratospheric level?
Maturity, you know, and him buying in, you know, to fully what it takes. I mean, he's a great kid, always has been, but, you know, our conversation all season was, you know, we got a lot of guys, right? And, you know, so you got basically 4 starters coming back, and it's, you know, easy for them to say, well, golly, man, I'm splitting reps. And I'm like, why are you worried about that? Like, quit worrying about how many plays you get, and how about focus on how you play? You know, these scouts don't care who runs out there first. They could care less. They just care about how you play the game. Like, right? I mean, they know, okay, oh, they got KJ and Miles and Mascoll and Xavier Thomas. I mean, you know, all right, so all these guys, this is college football. Like, they're all good players. They're all going to play. How do you play? I mean, don't say you want more plays. You played 25 plays and you're not impacting the game. You know, I mean, play well. And so how do we play better? Well, we've got to change how we got to focus on this, and then you know, he took I mean, we get these guys evaluated every year, and we get a lot of feedback that's, I think, important. Some of them want it, some of them cringe, you know. But KJ's one of those guys, like, he wants it. Like, he wants it. He's self-aware that way, and most of the time he'll be like, "Yep, I agree," and that takes a lot of maturity, you know. And then okay, well, let's go attack that. And so be inside out and quit worrying about this guy and that guy, and it's a man in the mirror. And I just think he just really, and that's what I say, yeah, you can go somewhere else, but it ain't going to get less competitive for you. You know, you're going to be on a really good team. You got a chance to probably be the captain of the team. And, you know, you focus on yourself. And, you know, you don't run from competition. That's how I look at it. It's not like he's not going to play. And so he just, man, he's changed his body. He's really worked on his tools. He's a much better run player. And a lot of that's a reflection of just what he's done in the weight room and his strength and just his knowledge of the game. Like, he sees it, he understands it, he studied it, and then all of his pass rush techniques, everything. I mean, he's just become more of a craftsman at the job. He's a 5th-year senior. That's what college football is all about. This is a development game, and it's one of those things that you know, you see so many of these kids now, if they're not, you know, all world as a freshman, it's like, well, I gotta leave, I gotta go somewhere else. No, the mirror travels with you. You know, somewhere along the line you gotta work, and you gotta earn things. And I just think he's a great example to all those things. He's always been a good player, but he's become a great player. Because he has, you know, been inside out. He's taken coaching. He's not looked at it as criticism. He's looked at it as information to get better, and it's been awesome. So I mean, he's been great. He's been great, and you know, just all those guys have bought into that. Just being selfless, you know, and you know, understanding that our strength is in numbers, and to be able to sub people and wear people down and to stay fresh in the fourth quarter when we have to have it is a real plus for us. So, you know, it's been great. It's been great. We've been able to really use our depth, you know, at the most critical position on that side of the ball, and going to get better. As you know, we got X coming back real soon, and you know, that's going to be awesome.
I remember you telling us in 2018, I think it was after the A&M game, that Henry actually approached you and told you that he wanted to redshirt that season. How rare is that for a guy as highly recruited as he was?
That never happens. That's very rare. You know, 5-star guy, and we really needed him. and he was playing. In fact, he had just played his best game at Wake, and yeah, he just said, "Coach, I need power hour. I got to get stronger." But he was looking at Klee. He's looking at Austin Bryant. Klee is a redshirt junior. Austin was a junior, fourth-year guy, and just big, strong, more physical. And he's looking at that going, okay, that's not me. A lot of kids like that, they don't recognize that, and that's a detriment to them when you don't have that type of self-awareness. But he's just like, Coach, I'm not strong enough, and I need to get in the weight room. So, we made a little deal, and I said, all right, well, that's what we'll do. But if we get an injury or something, you don't have to play. And so it worked out. So he went to Power Hour, and he just started his process. And then, again, graduated. I mean, he's a Campbell Trophy finalist, just got named that last week. And, I mean, he could have easily moved on last year. But, he didn't want to go be a 6th-round draft pick. He wanted to maximize his opportunity. And, he's like, well, I love my team. I love my place. I don't want to go somewhere. Just a very self-aware kid. And he's, unbelievable mom and dad. His dad's a coach. Heck, his mom has coached. I mean, they were both athletes, and they're just great people. And I think he's got great counsel, and because again, his dad is an excellent coach. And I mean, he knows the game, inside out, and he's very honest with him, and has challenged him as well. And man, KJ is, again, he's what it's all about, So to have a 5th-year guy like him, and I think it says a lot to the people at the next level how committed he is to getting better in development. And it's just night and day when you watch the tape from where, and you see the transformation that has come for him. So, yeah, proud of him. And again, it takes self-awareness to improve.
Another defensive end that's playing the run better is Justin Mascoll. I watch him and see a night and day difference. I hate that I don't know this, but does he have a chance to come back if he would want to next year?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a COVID year.
Yeah,
I mean,
think that he would take advantage of
I don't know. I mean, he's a graduate as well, and gonna, I mean, he's gonna have opportunity to play at the next level for sure. It's he is so much better. He's always been a very physical guy. That's been a natural thing for him, but just the details of the game. Offensive recognition, tendencies, formations, tips, just that aspect of the game from a football IQ standpoint. I mean, he's come a long way. He's a lot like X in that way. So I'm really proud of him. But yeah, he certainly could. And I think all these guys, I mean, they're just focused on winning. But as I said earlier, we get them all evaluated and give them the information, and then we'll see what decisions there are. The good news for him is if he doesn't like his information, he will have that option. We got a couple, I don't know, 1 or 2 more years of that opportunity, which I think has been good for a lot of these kids.
What's Bryan's status at this point?
He's not going to play this week. I can tell you that he's doing really good, really, really good, and everything is great. In fact, they kind of got a protocol in place for him, so they're gonna condition him this week, and just push him through every day. He started that yesterday. He's great, feels great, and again, all of his numbers are where they need to be. But just really want to kind of push him this week, and then if everything goes well as they anticipate, then get him back going next week. No, he's out there. Yeah, but they just got him. They're doing more, cardio stuff. He's more with the trainers, but he's going through that protocol with them.
As far as XT, is he back to the point where he's practicing, or is he still?
Yeah, he practiced last week. I know I've been saying it every week. He's right there. He's right there. So, it's just Tuesday, so today will be a big day, and tomorrow. And he was, kind of day to day last week, and didn't really feel quite there. And he's kind of right there, and he's better now than he was last week. So he's his foot is healed great and looks good, but just he's been working on his conditioning a little bit too. But he's right there.
But it seems like in just about every game this year, your offense has been able to answer when the other team has scored. What does that say about the mindset and the composure of your guys on offense, and also what is the cumulative effect of that, of the confidence gained as it continues to?
Yeah, well, they don't. You learn from your experiences. You learn from the bad ones too, and sometimes when you have a lot of bad happening, that gets contagious as well, right? And it's amazing how that works. When you have a lot of success, and that can become contagious too, and confidence, really can grow. And so they're a confident group, and again, we've just been able to have a lot of continuity on that side of the ball. I mean, there's been consistency there, and but the fact that they've been able to do it, and you saw it in the Georgia Tech game, they kind of came alive, overcame a little funk, right? First, 3rd and 1, we're in a great spot. First two, next thing you know, we get the snap, now you punt. And the next drive, you go right down the field and you feel good and you fumble. And it was just kind of like, getting out of your own way, and then, okay, we'll miss a throw. All right, well, how are we going to respond here? And really kind of since that second half, they've really kind of gone. I mean, we went from the second half of Georgia Tech, I think we went like 9 out of 11 or maybe even more scoring drives, into that Furman game. And then, so we've started well. And I think that's a reflection of how they've practiced, how detailed they are, the leadership. There's a lot of leadership on that side of the ball, man. DJ is relentless at practice. I mean, he's just a different guy. He is every day. He really truly comes out there like it's game day every day, and it just sets the tone. So, the guys are having fun up front, and again, they've had some success, and that just breeds confidence that somebody's going to make a play. And so I'm proud of them, where they are, but they're far from complete and far from satisfied, because there's a lot that we can do better.
Yeah, well, you guys have been adding and finding consistent success with the tight end group. How valuable is that in the college game this day to have kind of that X factor, and how does that complement this offensive skill set as well?
Yeah, we've always valued the tight end. I mean, my first tight end was Michael Palmer, and he was here. He was on the sideline Saturday. And Dwayne Allen, my second tight end, won the Mackey Award, and he was on the sideline Saturday. Was here for the Hall of Fame. Brandon Ford was a great player for us. I mean, Leggett was a Mackey finalist, a great player. But those guys are hard to find, man. I mean, difference makers at that position. Ask the NFL guys. It's the hardest position to find, and that's why if you see a guy that has that ability to really do it all at that position in today's game and be a matchup problem, they're high premium at the next level. They just are, and they're just hard to find. There's just a lot. I think it's the hardest position to play in our offense outside of quarterback from a schematic standpoint, because there's a lot. I mean, and not everybody can. Sometimes it just takes some guys a little while to do it, and then some years, you get guys, he's a better route runner, but he can't block nobody. Some years this guy's a better blocker, and you have to kind of piece it together. So it's nice when you got some guys that can really do it all, and everybody's trying to find those guys, recruit those guys. But Davis was a guy, like I said, he didn't play tight end. He's just a big athlete, basketball player, pitcher, D-line, linebacker, tough guy, and just saw his athleticism, but he had to kind of learn he hadn't run routes. So he had to learn the game, and he's gotten better and better and better. And now he's, he thinks he's Kelsey, right? Like he thinks he can catch anything, he can get open. You know, he's not as twitchy as Bresee, but you know, Brenny's not as physical as Davis, but they're both pretty good at everything. You know, they're not bad at anything. They're good at everything. And to have a tight end that's good at every aspect of the game, that's rare to have those guys. And both of those guys, and Bresee is obviously a true sophomore. Last year really light in the pants, you know, just he's like a little giraffe running around out there, and you know, really know how to play. And you know, yeah, he can run a route and he catch a ball, but there's just a lot more to it than that. So now it's just, I mean, just both have become, I mean, Davis is as complete a football player as we have on this team. This guy is special. He's going to play football a long time. He starts on punt team. He starts on field goal team. I mean, he knows he can call plays. I mean, he's just a savvy player, and he's just developed so much with his route running, his body positioning. He's always had good hands, but now he just has the even more confidence to go with it. And then Bresee, you know, Brenny's a guy that could win the Mackey one day. Like, he has that. I mean, he's got that type of upside. But it won't just happen like KJ. It's not going to just happen. He's got to continue to develop. You know, he's not anywhere close to, you know, maxed out physically. Man, he's really become coachable when it comes to technique and fun. In high school, he just ran by everybody. You know, he was bigger than everybody, faster than everybody, and ran by everybody. You know, now there's recognition and there's spacing and there's man techniques and there's break points and there's footwork. I mean, there's a lot to it, and he's just at another place. And now his confidence has grown, and the game has slowed down. And you know, both of those guys have become weapons for us. And let me tell you, Sage Ennis, Sage is a guy. He's not far off from he hasn't had as much opportunity, but he's battled a lot of injuries since he's been here and has missed a ton of time. But he's finally kind of turning the corner. And man, you know, next year having Sage and Bresee, we're really fortunate. You know, so Sage is coming. Man, we got young Sapp. You know, I think Sapp is going to be a really, really good one. I think he brings all the things that we need. So it's a good group, and we work hard at trying to find the right guys that hopefully can project into what we need at that position. Because when you have a guy like that can really impact the run game. I mean, Davis Allen was our player of the game last week. You know, he had 4 catches, and everybody's talking about, you know, he had a great game. I've had a lot of tight ends in the past that have, you know, 5 catches and a touchdown. Everybody thinks they played great, and they stunk. You know, I mean, because they didn't impact the game the other 30 plays. But Davis Allen impacts the game every time that ball snapped. He impacts the game. He's player of the game. I mean, just turn on the tape. He's physical like a tackle. He plays like a linebacker from a mentality standpoint. Just a very physical kid, and again, smart and a great leader. So I mean, he changes the game. And when you got a guy like that at that position that is a real factor in the run game and a real factor in the pass game, it opens up everything for everybody else, because, you know, somebody's got to go cover 80 and 10 and 0. And so it just – and that's when we're at our best, you know, when we can do that. And we've been able to be a little more multiple in some of our personnel groupings because of how Bresee has come along, and even some of our two-back stuff. So – it's been good.
Dabo, you continue to talk about the evolution of this offense. You say you like where they're going and where they're heading, but Saturday you talked about DJ. He has to make some of those throws. So what's the key, and what specific things do you want to see from this offense to continue to? Yeah,
just, again, the precision in what we're doing. You know, I mean, and it's a simple thing. Maybe you're running a stretch and you're either a little late off the ball or your footwork's a little off, and next thing you know, we're you know, we got a guy, it's a 1-yard gain or nothing. It's the back, you know, maybe really trusting and pressing and not cutting on the air. It's a receiver, you know, with his start or with his depth or with his eyes based on the timing of the you know, the drop of the quarterback. You know, is it quick game? Is it drop back? Is it play action? There's a lot of things that impact timing. So just precision in what we do. I mean, we're really close in some spots. And then we got to cut out stupid penalties. I mean, we've had some really dumb penalties that cost you. You just don't. Those are plays. Everybody goes, oh, well, I mean, no. You got a great play call that's fixing the hit, and you jump offside on first down, coming off the sideline. Now it's 1st and 15, and it's a different deal. And so those are the things as coaches that we see. So just some dumb penalties. Again, a little more precision in what we do. I think that's the next step. And we got to finish a few more plays. There's a little more chicken on the bone, if you will. But we're doing a lot more good than bad. I mean, we really are. So, but nobody's satisfied. We think we can be a lot better if we'll continue to, develop.
Andrew Mukuba playing.
I was going to say, you know, on the situation any different in practice this week than the last?
No. I mean, we kind of mixed it up with a couple of rugby punts last week, which was good, and we were really concerned going into that game with their return, both kick return and punt coverage, or kick coverage and punt coverage, and our guys did a great job. But we just need Aiden to be a little more consistent, and he's missed a couple that's put us in a little bit of a bind. So that's an area that we need to get better consistency there, and hopefully this will be the week that he kind of puts it back together. He's got off to a good start, and then he's just missed a few, so hopefully he'll. But as far as how we practice, won't change how we practice. I mean, we believe in how we practice. We don't ever change how we practice.
I just meant competition.
Oh yeah, we got what we got, so we if we have to make a change, we know what we'd do, but we'll keep going. But we believe in Aiden, and we see it every day. And it's like, had a great night last night. Had a really, really good night last night. So it's just hopefully something he'll kind of bust through and just really be a little bit more consistent for us.
Now with Andrew Mukuba playing both safety and corner, is he kind of a stopgap until the younger guys get up to speed? Or
I don't know if it's a stopgap as much as he's our best player. It's just simple as that. I mean, Mukuba's our best player. He's as good a football player as we got. He's a great, great player, and it's kind of one of those things week to week where where you put him. Where do you put your best player? What's best for the defense that week? And sometimes it's dictated by the team you're playing, their personnel. Sometimes it's dictated by injuries, and where you need to put him. Kind of where we were last week. It's the best spot for us, or maybe it's how guys are performing. Whatever. We feel pretty good about our safeties, and then so it was like, all right, well because Mickens has played a ton. Venables led us in tackles last week. He's played a ton. JP is a solid vet, and so you start Koval's coming. You're like, okay, well, we've been struggling here, so all right, let's get our best player here. So that's kind of a week-to-week thing as far as how you game plan him. But he's an outstanding football player.
Do you see any long-term future for him at corner, or is it that he could play anywhere?
I definitely think he's going to play corner more this year. He's going to play safety. He's going to play nickel, and guess what? He's going to do the same thing at the next level one day. He's going to play everywhere. He'll be a nickel corner for sure at the next level. He'll be a high range safety, and he could transition and play corner completely. He can do any of those things. Still needs to develop physically, but he's just a really, really gifted kid that can do a lot.
We talked a lot about the bootleg that you drew up on the sideline the other night. DJ told us yesterday that he thinks that the plays that you call, you hit on probably about 80% of the time. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I've called good ones. I've called bad ones, but I don't do anything. I've done the same thing for 14 years. I think every head coach, has an expertise and instincts for whatever it is. You input that when you need to. I think that's the art of being a head coach. It's knowing when you need to assert yourself and when you need to just, stay in tune to what's going on and you just got to pay attention. And so that's not any different than what I've always done. Whether it be national championship games, whatever, for my whole career. But I love my staff, man. We got a great group, and our players are very involved. It's a really good group. But you don't win the game on game day. I mean, you have instincts. And I think, again, to be a great head coach, you have to trust your instincts. You have to watch the game, and you have to trust your instincts in critical situations. But you win the game during the week. I mean, you win the game when you're in there, Tuesday meetings and you're game planning, and you win the game Tuesday night and Wednesday night when you're making decisions, critical decisions, on how we're going to call things, situational football. You don't just show up on game day and go, okay, well, let me just figure this out. It doesn't work that way. The game is played through the week. And, and then again, just your messaging, your meetings, how you practice, guys taking ownership of the plan. That's what leads to execution. But, man, our staff has done an awesome job in just putting our guys in position to be successful. It's a player's game. The credit goes to the players. I mean, you can't be the village idiot. You got to have some sense about you, and you want to be creative and manipulate things. But everybody has a system. But it's not about, schemes. It's about players executing schemes. That's what this game is all about. It's about effort. It's about toughness, physicality, belief, discipline. It's about attitude, taking care of the football, all that type of stuff.
Got time for about one or two from Zoom if anybody has any online.
Yeah, Dabo, this is Pete at AP. Couple things. Was going to ask, 2 years ago against BEC was when DJ made his debut. You've got to be pretty gratified about how he's developed, not a finished product yet, but how he's developed over these 2 years and gone through both the highs and the lows. Yeah, I'm super proud of him. I mean, he's been in all phases. He's done it all. I mean, he's had great success. Where he's a, instant superstar and everybody's hero and the first rounder and the Heisman candidate to, he ought to go and play in Arena League, and move to tight end or, give up football. He's experienced all those things that come with playing that position. And but the one thing that hasn't changed is him. He has never changed as far as just who he is as a young man. Incredibly humble, very, very smart, and just as tough as they come. I mean, he's just grown. And as I always say, when bad stuff happens, when adversity happens, it defines you, destroys you, or develops you. And it's developed him. He's allowed that, all these struggles and challenges and criticism and doubt and all those things. He's used that as, fuel for his fire. And he's allowed it to sharpen him and develop him in all phases of his game, mentally, physically, you name it. And, just proud of him. He's doing a good job. Again, we've only played 5 games, and, it's he knows it's not far from the penthouse to the outhouse. I promise you that. So just got to continue to, stay within himself, continue to prepare, and, stay inside out. And I think if he does that, he's kind of over the hump and kind of back where, in just the right mindset and, being the type of player that we know he is.
We'll go last question here to Anna Adams online. Anna?
Hey, Dabo. Are there a couple QD guys at offensive line you feel like maybe are closer to getting in the game, more meaningful situations? And is that something that's on the radar right now, or are you just pretty content with your starting 5, especially with kind of the chemistry that they've built right now?
Yeah, we love our five and the chemistry for sure, and the continuity that they're given. But it's just all flow of the game type of stuff. I mean, we've been in a couple of battles, and we haven't been able to. It's not like we have, KJ and Miles. We're not quite there. But we got some guys that we're definitely confident. I mean, we love the guys we have. We feel good about our depth. We got some young guys that we think have very bright futures. But hopefully we'll get some more opportunity. Mitchell, who missed a ton of camp, missed most of camp. He's back rolling and he's getting a ton of work. And I think he's done some good things. We got Tucker and Mitchell in there the other night, a play or two. We got Tucker in there. Those are two redshirt sophomores that, we think are a little more ready. I'd say the same thing about Trent Howard and Linthicum. They're kind of right there. Colin Sadler, he's a guy that we'd love to get in there and get some reps. Incredibly physical and gifted young player, just hasn't had as much opportunity with some game situation. Tristan is developing. But big drop off between J Mac and Tristan right now. So you gotta be smart, and we just haven't had as much opportunity. But we see those guys, and one of the things that we do in practice is I try to make sure that those twos get a lot of competitive work. Especially this time of the season. They're going to get that 2 minute. They're going to get that O versus D and get some real fastball. Because they may not be getting as much on game day right now. But we're getting it in practice, and so that's allowing us to develop them a little bit. Big John. John is a redshirt sophomore. There's that whole little group. So, Dietrich has made some progress. I feel like he's starting to turn the corner and get back on track. Growing up a little bit. So I mean, we got guys, but right now nobody that we think. We're going to put in there in the third series to just get them in there, with the game on the line. And, it's just some of those guys taking that next step from practice standpoint to earn that.